This is Warriors Anonymous.
All right, Warriors Anonymous, we are back. Oh, the Mad Monday edition. It was kind of better doing those Rad Mondays, but yeah, this is the Mad Monday. We got obviously we got the Prince in here. Decided to come along and show his face. So thank you for coming along, Prince Miles. My name is Jared Cronin, and we've got the lads on tonight. First of all, Moneta Sauce enjoyed a lovely little weekend away, I understand, mate.
Yeah, just watching up in the around the coast, just next to the beach. Stayed out late to watch the Warriors, and I couldn't actually get back to sleep after that. I just kept on thinking about that forward pass.
Yeah, I
actually couldn't get to sleep. I slept for about 3 hours that night because the adrenaline was pumping through my veins.
Yeah, I can understand why that would be the case. I know on Sunday I actually felt a little bit sort of hungover. Hadn't drunk a drop, but the come down was quite a large one. Daniel Wharakura, bro, you'd invested in grand final tickets. so what's the latest with those, man?
Kia ora e te whānau. So they officially have been sold, I think. The resale platform's a bit random. Excuse me. So yeah, they are now probably in the hands of a Penrith or a Brisbane supporter. So I would have loved to make the trip over, but it would have cost about $2,000 in airfares to get there. It's ridiculous at the moment. So, yeah, so one silver lining. They're nice not making the final is having to spend so much on flights, but gutted not to be there.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things that you'd never wish anything other than making the grand final, but I just had a moment of kind of reflection. I thought, man, my schedule's going to free up quite a lot now that we don't have to do Warriors stuff every day. What am I going to do with this time? Plenty. Probably walk the Prince a bit more. Sorry, boy. Now, speaking of the pass, I hope you fellas can hear this because I just want to tee up the SENZ call of the pass as it happened.
Now Payne Haas wants to ball play this time. Out the back, Reece Walsh on this right-hand edge. Reece Walsh gets away. Martin, that's forward. That's got to be forward. That's a mile forward. Gerard Sutton, what are you doing? Jordan Ricky goes in. That is the most forward pass I have ever seen. I have never seen a pass more forward than that. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable, Kempe. The Broncos have gone in through Jordan Ricky. You watch this on the replay. That is unbelievable from the referees.
He's going to show some pace here as he's released the ball there.
It is 5 metres forward. Are you kidding me? That is shameful. Shameful officiating.
He can't call it back either, Jared Sutton. But you've had an absolute shocker here, Mr. Sutton, on a pass from Reece Walsh that everyone in the stadium saw except yourself.
I just thought that was such a great reaction. What I loved most was that, like, you know, I know Sam's calling the game for the public, but man, he's raw, bro. He's getting into it just like we were in the lounge room. So. How did you boys react in the moment, Moneta? Well, describe the scene as you observed that pass.
I mean, even before that, it was quite tense. You know, like because I thought we came out in the second half quite well, but then, and I knew Walsh when he made that line break. Oh man, it feels like I'm at some like counselling now.
What Warriors Anonymous was created for.
You come to the right place, bro.
and then Steve Walsh. I said ball forward. But basically, that was just... And I thought, they're going to call it. And, you know, what gave it away was that Reece looked behind him to check on the ref. But then nothing happened. And everyone was looking. But the 3 referees on the field didn't see it was a forward pass. So I was a bit perplexed because, like, that was like I think we were still in it up to that point. We had to play like perfect from that point, but I think that pretty much that one try killed our momentum. Because at that point it was like, yes, it was 24-12, but you know it was three tries to 4, and but yeah, after that try, pretty much just it sunk me. And I think many others too.
Because you're right. I felt the same. Like, as I was watching that second half unfold, up until that point, it was like the Broncos had kind of just slowed down a touch from that frantic first half. And you just started to get a sense, like we were just starting to push them back a bit. We were searching for that error to get us up there and try and get something out of it. And, we did get the error, but the other error was that the error wasn't picked up. So, what was your reaction? Were you watching it at a birthday party or?
Yeah, Big Ed Dando, supporter of the Warriors Anonymous crew. It's his 70th. It was a 70th on Saturday night. So get all the festivities out the way, and then we, probably a group of about 50 just sat down and watched the Wars. So at that exact point, I was like, forward pass, you got to call it. And I saw he didn't call it, and I was like, fuck, they can't change it now. They can't change it. And then I was just like, this is such a stupid system. The bunker can't call on that, because yes, I get they don't necessarily have all the angles, but in a situation like that, you don't need all the angles. You can see as well. So I was like, so my mind went straight to Sutton, you're fired. You ain't got the big one. You've just dropped the ball, mate. Unfortunately, mate, and subsequently, it looks like he's going to be missed out. And it's funny because Klein's kind of dropped the ball. Well, Harry Grant dropped the ball last week, but he didn't give it to him. And it's not a kind of, thought you want to keep, but I was just like, that's such a big boo-boo, man. And look, I just thought that's it. That's our challenge. And I saw Shawnee come back to halfway, just shaking his head and just mouth the words, fuck, how the fuck, like that. And I just knew, this is probably too big a bridge to climb, a hill to climb. Just too big. Because you're right, we were right. We were back in the grind, and we probably needed everything to go our way. To even kind of get close again. It sort of broke the back of the boys. Yeah.
Look, I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I know a lot of Warriors fans feel the same, that we could well have had everything go our way, including that big play, and still lost the game. But it just killed the contest. It just killed it off. It was about half an hour to go, and from that point, there was nothing in it.
It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the league that a fundamental part of the game cannot be picked out like this. I mean, you'd forgive it in park footy, right? And on the how many times I threw one of those to you, bro, on the quad. St. Bridget's, even at Onslow, bro. And would have gone definitely no, momentum. But if anything, we were just talking about this beforehand. If anything comes of this, it is a change to that stupid rule that the bunker can't adjudicate on it, or speeding up the technology of getting something in place, because it just looks bad for the NRL.
Yeah, you did right. And I mean, if you're I was thinking about from the perspective of sponsors and the NRL as well. I was thinking, man, they'll be furious about that, because they look stupid. And all of the sponsors who are pumping money into it, they'll be looking at that going, what the hell? Like, why are we giving hard-earned cash for this kind of farcical setup? I think there's a lot. I think it's a far wider sort of impact than a lot of people quite realise. But Volandis has said that they might have to look at having the bunker rule on it for cases like that. Sure, I think it's probably warranted.
For the fans.
I know, but actually you mentioned you've got a novel sort of solution to this as well. What are your thoughts?
I have a novel solution for this?
Yes, you got the Adam Reynolds gentleman's...
Oh, sorry, yes.
The handshake.
I was still so caught up with being wronged. But no, absolutely. I thought, hey, where's the sportsmanship? If this is a game of cricket, right? And, Australia and calling players back, maybe not. But why not? Why couldn't Reno go back and say, hey, look, we don't accept that try. We know we've done something incorrect here, and we'll take it back and hand over. But I suppose in the moment, something this isn't really going to happen. But why not? It was so blatant. It was so bad. I mean, Moneta said Reece turned around and looked at it. It was like, shit, they're going to call it? and he had to throw it to him in that position because he couldn't throw a normal behind pass because it would have been intercepted or wouldn't have gone to him. So, yeah.
My favourite meme of that was like, at least it reminds us to turn the clock forward. This is daylight savings. Oh, yeah. No.
Or something like Walsh threw for 3 touchdowns and 300 yards or something.
Yeah, actually, it's probably good timing you bring up the meme side of things because the fans' reactions were absolutely brilliant. I just thought I'd share a few that I picked up along the way. So obviously, first one was that forward pass almost went to Auckland. Shane, that was beautiful. Someone mentioned they'll say backwards out of the hands. I enjoyed the irony and what they were saying there. Let's have a look so we can speed this up a little bit. What is the next one? Where's the next one? There it is. Josh Gage, absolute gold from this guy. That ball was so far forward. He threw it to his mukapuna. That was beautiful. Scott Canning as well came in with a nice steady. He'd passed it into 2025. Some excellent stuff in there. So
2 years forward, love it.
That's right. Yes, it's not even next year. It's gone straight into free agency for players from this year. Eli Takuira, that pass ended up in the Northern Hemisphere. Good stuff. And obviously, we've mentioned about the NFL side of things. Touchdown Denver Broncos. That one, I remember that was quite early as well. Like pretty soon after it happened. So kind of just got me at a moment. I was like, that's actually pretty funny. I guess you can have a few different reactions to it. One being laugh, among other different reactions that you might have, including this one from Sean Moeke Dixon. He said the Warriors should boycott next season's NRL comp. Fuck these refs.
Oh, come on, Sean. It's okay. Come back, bro.
Look, bro, I'm going to admit it. There was a time and there was a moment where I 100% agreed with that. But yeah, as you move along, Nathan Brandis, worst I've seen in my life, and that's from a Broncos fan. So appreciate the sort of objectivity on that because, people are always going to say that, aren't they? It's Warriors fans just kicking up a fuss. Here we go, blah, blah, blah. But, and this, I thought this was a good one to sum it up from Jesse Kalako. Not saying the Warriors would come back or the Broncos haven't played well, but touchies are just straight up useless. One of the worst calls of the season. And I think that kind of echoes that sort of sentiment that we were talking about that, we were up against it in terms of getting the result. No doubt about that, which, yeah, it kind of softens the blow, I guess, in a sense. Maybe. I don't know. I'm looking for anything here. Moneta, is it better? I mean, we ended up getting beaten by 30. Is it better to lose big in a prelim final like that or to, lose it in heartbreaking fashion?
I think, again, what it's done now, I think that call has been a shocker, right? And I think it's kind of almost taken away. That's been kind of a limelight of that particular game. It's kind of the key moment of that game. And, I mean, to be fair, the Broncos did look slick in attack. I mean, was it Reece Walsh? It was, typical Reece Walsh, just kind of, keeping the defense guessing. And a few times, our defense, like on the edge, we could have stayed man-on-man defense. There was a couple of times I was like, just stay on your side when marking and just trust in the inside. You can see, I think one of the tries, Sean Johnson blew up at one of his own wingers going, what the hell are you doing? Stay on your man. You don't need to come in because Rocco Berry had the inside. So, to be fair, I think the Broncos probably would have won that because there was a period even before, I think in the first half, in the last 20 minutes, we made 3 errors in a row. We had a scrum and we lost it on our first play. And so, what am I saying? I think it's probably better that we got wasted.
Are you saying it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all?
But still, I would have loved to win that game.
And to never play again, ever again.
I'm still thinking about that call, which is sad.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it was amplified as well. Even that halftime lead, they were well worth it. don't get me wrong, but at that point it was 4 tries to 3.
Yeah, exactly.
And we hadn't kicked anything. So that came back to a guy named Adam Pompey. And I know there's been a lot of reaction around the place all season, all year it's been happening. But Daniel, actually both of you boys as well, we'll start with you, Daniel. Where do you see Pompey next season? What's his place in the team in your head?
I think he's probably the third choice centre, to be honest, and potential wing cover. If again, probably a fourth choice winger. So, and the pure reason, right, is obviously Roger's back, and actually I'd say third choice centre, potentially fourth choice because of young Ali is ready to go. And I think it comes back to, look, if I look at the game, actually, before, I won't say that stuff yet because we'll talk about that later, but yeah, I just think the kicking thing, look, he just had an off night, but I think part of it was the pressure of the situation, and look, 3 kicks on the sideline as well, but he had much the same last weekend and managed to nail them as well, so he's a young fella, he'll be better for it, but yeah, probably on the outer, but just purely because we're getting new talent. We're getting talent back in next year.
And good to have a guy like that who can cover a lot of places. Because, I mean, really...
And played every minute of every game
that's right.
this year.
And he wasn't expected to going into this year. Going into 2023, we were thinking that a guy like William Evailea was going to be setting the world on fire, and just goes to show how things turn out. But Moneta, what do you think on the POMP and where he is going to be placed in 2024?
It's a tough one because I think to Butter's point, we're getting some stock because we're getting some good players for next year, like RTS and Charles Tavita Harris. I'm always think he could be positioned on the wing, and maybe Montoya. I thought Montoya had a bit of an up and down. I think he was like the same as Pompey. I think, I'm not quite. I think Montoya wasn't his best in the last few games. I think he did still do those barnstorming runs, but his reads on defense kind of frustrated me. But I think he could possibly be on the wing. Making space for RTS. I think he's still a good player, but I just think the caliber of what RTS is bringing, and Ali, he looked great in his first game. So, but at this moment, I see he could play the wing, and I see him neck and neck with Montoya in that regard. So,
could help us go one better in the New South Wales Cup maybe next year. That'd be a positive as well. Now, obviously, a lot of people are negative towards Pompey, but the overwhelming sentiment is positivity amongst Warriors fans. Moneta, if there was a Dally M for best fans in the comp, dare I say we would win it by a mile.
Yeah, by far. I think I haven't seen anyone kind of bag them as a team as a whole. I think everyone just shows, we're all proud of them, right? Considering what they've been through in the last few years, and what happened last year where they came 15th, and just the turnaround from being, a bunch of, what people were saying misfits, bunch of kind of, close to nobodies. They were saying that we didn't have any strike players. Even I think last year we were mentioning that we were saying we're a bit concerned because we don't have some of those X factor players and so forth. But look where they've taken us, and I think a lot has to do with that with the coach also.
Are you talking about the podcast, us, or are you talking about the team?
Nobodies. We love the nobodies.
Oh, you mean us as us, or?
Nah, I'm kidding, bro.
I thought we can't do that. Yes,
sounds like our season. Just a bunch of nobodies.
Just a bunch of nobodies.
No one believes in us.
I'm super proud of the boys. I think they've done great. I think they can still hold their heads up high, and and there's a lot of those Warriors players that would be in contention for international games coming up, and I'm looking forward to that.
Well, that's a good question because I know there's a big sort of, a good month or so of international footy coming up. Do we necessarily want our guys to be playing that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, just think cool. I mean, yeah, it's going to be situation by situation, really. So, Tohu, probably SJ. I mean, I know a few weeks ago, Madge was basically on the footy show. What it was the Matty John show was literally trying to get him to play. And it was a bit of an awkward situation.
It was awkward, eh?
I get a sense that he probably brushed SJ in the last few years as well. So now he's like, "Oh, bro, what are you up to?" as well. But
and I felt like SJ was about to brush him back, but he was being polite about it. It was like,
yeah, it was awkward. So yeah, case by case. I mean, for some of the younger guys, who probably haven't had a massive workload as well. You'd like to see the benefits of them having a good off season. Definitely the older guys, I'd probably make some decisions on rep footy as well. I mean, SJ's got 1 year on this contract, and look, he looked pretty determined. The address he gave to the team afterwards, on behalf of the team to Webby, tasting that prelim final, long time between drinks, right? Like a long time between that position and a long time before finals. So, yeah, I think they'll be pretty dedicated to get back to work as well. So, I guess I just want to touch on the, when you think about the question around who comes in and who comes out next year, and we'll do our review show at some stage-ish, season
next week,
season review kind of thing. But I guess what it showed is that, we've got a really good base, a really good structure way we play. But the difference between us and the top two teams, Penrith and Brisbane, is they have that, and then they have the X factor as well. And I think it just comes down to individual, the dynamic of those individual players, the ability for them to just do things, not superhuman, but that it's the average NRL player can't do. And don't get me wrong, look, we sit here pretty happy if we can roll out a consistent effort week to week as well, and finish in the zone we do this year. But I think to take it to the next level, we're going to have to look at where we strengthen, who the guys coming through, and just kind of tweak with the side, but make sure they don't lose that kind of commitment that they get, which it's going to be super important.
Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone know the details about the Payne Haas situation back in 2015 when he was?
No, trialing. Was he trialing or something for us?
It was just a trial. No, it wasn't trialing. It was like a training. He got sent over for some training with the Warriors. Right. But yeah, it would have been great if he was there.
Because it's one of those things where you kind of hear a couple of things and you start to wonder, how angry or sad should I be about this? Did we let the biggest fish in the pond get out? But anyways, Moneta, Buddha mentioned about the fact that we do have a good base, considering where we came from last year. We came into this year, and even Robbo was saying, look, next year, 2024, they were basically going to try and target a top 4 finish. And bang, we've done that this year against all odds, Phil Collins. Now, how do you think that we can, harness what we've done and push up to try and get there again and better than what we've been?
I think I totally agree with what Daniel was saying. I think, we've got the consistency, the structure, but it's probably just that X factor we're missing. It's just that one, someone with just that kind of who can create those moments. We look at Broncos. They've got Reece Walsh, Haas, Cobbo. They've got quite a few in their team, and you look at Penrith. They've got Ivan Clear, Luau, and all that stuff. So I think that's probably one thing we're probably just missing. And I tell you what was killing us on the weekend was those offloads. Shit. How many offloads? That really, we made the first, we stuck to our structures in terms of defense. We made those first defense, but it was really those offloads that kind of broke up our line defense a lot. And, that's something, I don't know, maybe that could be something we might have to look to do next year. I don't know, because that second phase play was killing us. It
was amazing.
Man, I was screaming at the TV going, not again, with these offloads. But I think it comes down to still having and I think we kind of were missing that X factor. I mean, like I said, we've got the structures, now we're just got to have that kind of take it to the next level. So,
Yeah. Those, as they say, those offloads were like shelling police.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I hadn't checked the stats or anything, but it seemed like it must have been some kind of season high for either the Broncos and or the league, because they were just popping them out like.
I think they had 16 in the first half. Offloads. I was like, that's ridiculous.
insane.
No wonder.
Yeah, and it's so hard to stop, eh? But I mean, also, even the Broncos on a structured game, they're hard to stop just because of the freakish players that they do have.
Yeah.
So that's always a bit of an issue. But Daniel, your guy, Bailey Sizzle. Well, I mean, is it 100% confirmed that he played his last game for the Warriors?
I think it is. I mean, I think they mentioned in the Warriors end of year prize giving that he was a departing player as well. So I understand it is, and I'd probably only say that's down to salary cap measures as well. There's a crop of young sort of back rowers, edge forwards coming through, but there's probably no one that can play that role of Mr. Utility on the bench as much as he does. Obviously, Dylan Walker can, but it kind of takes away from where we had Dills as well. So, looks like he will be going, but, nothing 1,000% confirmed, just that he was off contract and free to perhaps negotiate. And the word was he was perhaps going to Super League.
He had a pretty good season as well as it went on, I thought. Do you think that you mentioned that Chanel had been, bulking up a little bit? Is he basically the ready-made sort of replacement for Bailey Sizzle?
You'd have to think so, because I think it actually got me thinking when Wade went off as well in the game, and I was thinking, and actually I heard something the other day, and talking about how sort of not in and out, but how many head injuries he's had and all those sorts of things.
They killed Kenny.
They got me thinking about who actually, if he is out seriously for a period of time, Freddie's great. We love Freddie as well, but Freddie's maybe not quite ready to command that role. And it got me thinking, are we a bit light on hookers? But then I started thinking, well, Chanel had a whole campaign with Samoa, took them to the finals in the last World Cup, pretty much playing dummy half. So actually, you think about it, he obviously plays in the halves. He can hit, we know that. He can play hooker. And then now with his bulking up, because that's the chat as well. And I think I spied him while I was at Mount Smart the other week. And he's quite a tall guy as well. So there's potentially ability to play a little bit of edge back row and maybe a little bit in the middle. So maybe he is the in out for Bailey.
Yeah, okay, interesting. We might have to try and get him back on as well at some stage. Moneta, I've actually just had a thought. Buddha just mentioned Wade Egan, and we had been speaking about the international duties. Like, when did he get his, or when did he land in New Zealand? I.e., I'm thinking 3 years from when he lands, we could maybe try and line him up and see if he wants to play for the Kiwis.
This is a Nathan Fiend, was it? Yeah.
Webb.
That's
Brent
it.
Webb.
The residency rule. Is that still a thing?
Yeah. Yeah, well, is he New South Wales?
Wade?
Yeah.
Yeah, he will be.
Wade. Yeah. Well, that would be great if he could do that. He is like one of the top, if not one of the top or best hooker in the game currently. I mean, that's what the commentators are saying. So, it'd be great. I wouldn't say no to that. Shit.
Yeah, you can see the pain in Greg Alexander's eyes there when he's like, man, he's been playing so well and that, and kind of thinking, shit, we should have probably picked him earlier in the year for higher honours. But
Is it me, or does Brandy look more and more like Kermit Frog? Sorry, it's just a bit random, but every time I see him, I just see...
is it the profile or?
Side profile, maybe. It's probably the eyes. I don't know. Just a weird thought I had. Sorry, team.
And that's okay. That's what happens when we suffer trauma. We all deal with it in different ways, guys. Oh man, what a year though! Great year. And you think back to this time last year, and it's like, bro, the strides that we have made as a club, just night and day. The dawn has passed.
It's dark.
The dawn has gone.
We haven't heard that in a while.
So I guess what happens now is that, fan support will be at a real sort of high kicking into 2024. With that will come a new challenge, and that is we're not going to be able to go under the radar. And also there's going to be a heck of a lot more expectation to deal with. So mentally, Moneta, what are we going to have to, how do we deal with that as a team? Because typically Warriors teams going back, when they have expectation on them, they haven't really travelled so well.
I think what makes this a bit different is I think we've finally got a coach who's going to fit in within our long-term plan in regards to creating future development and long-term aspirations. So I think he's created a good we go back to systems. I think he's done that. He's created a good structure, and he's created the culture, not just with the players, but all the way through each level, like from the management down to people who help in the corporate office and so forth. So I think they should be able to keep the consistency in regards to the next year. I think it's going to be looking good next year. I'm much more optimistic than when Ivan Cleary left, and then was it Brian McFadden? Isn't he? No,
Louis.
Brian McFadden.
Brian McFadden, was he wrestler?
Brian McFadden.
And if I let you go.
They got rid of Ivan Cleary and put in the
Bluey.
Kiwis. Yeah, Bluey.
Yeah.
And then
And we were flying without wings.
Yeah. We definitely Brian McFadden. Looking like that. But I think we'll be good for next year. We've got Webster, and the old saying, "In Webster we trust." So, yeah.
He's got the recipe, right? He's got the 11 herbs and spices. He's our Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
Brian McFadden, still recovering from that. Thank you.
Imagine him coaching, eh?
Yeah, that's right. But you're the money man. The official Warriors salary cap auditor. Just don't ask them because they'll never admit it.
Curiosity.
But bro, if they're gonna, when they're signing Webby to a new deal,
Oh yeah.
whereabouts does he sit in the pecking order of coaches in terms of how much they get paid? I.e., who do you think's getting the top say for next year in 2025 say, and where would Webby sit in amongst that leaderboard?
So the top dosh is surely still going to Bellamy, I was going to say Wayne, but I don't think Wayne probably is taking top. But he's taking a good whack. You've obviously got Ivan, he'd be fucking rolling these days, especially if they can get the win on Sunday. So you got those guys. You've obviously got Robbo as well, who's had a challenging season, but had enough quality in squad to get them into the semi-finals. So you've got those guys there. They're the kind of you'd say they're the upper tier of the coaches for longevity and high sustained team performance as well. And then you've got a massive open pool of just kind of coaches that have either early in career or sort of struggling environments, middling environments as well. And then you've got a bunch of real early careers. So Webby technically is obviously first year head coach with 15 years assistant coaching behind him, but I think he quickly has elevated himself into the sort of second tier, the top of the second tier of those coaches. And look, the only reason I'm not putting in the top tier yet, right, is you've got to probably you got to put about 3 or 4 good seasons together, right, to be able to be pushed up into there. But you see him, and I think we talked about this as well. Ricky Stewart's probably. I was going to say Ricky Stewart dropped back out of that top pack. I think he has dropped out of that top pack, but he also just gave us a reminder that he can take a team not fancied under strength, and he can galvanise them as well. And then you've got also Adam O'Brien, who I think halfway through the season there was talk of him about to be sacked, and then he went to put 10 in a row out with the football team led by KP, did a really good job. So, but I just see Webby as, at this stage, going to ride at that top of the second tier, and hot property, absolutely hot property. There would be literally 14 other clubs that would happily have Webby right now as well. So the bro ain't going because we're locking his ass down.
That's right. Gonna lock them up forever.
Ever?
It's Dally M time. we got Dally M's coming up this week. So Webby's in the mix for Coach of the Year. Him, Ivan, going for bloody 3rd straight title, fourth grand final in a row. Kevy, who's done great things with the Broncos. So, Moneta, in your completely unbiased opinion, is Webby going to win that Dally M Coach of the Year award?
In my unbiased opinion, yes. He's going to fucking win. You consider what I think, yes. Kevy's done great, but I think he's taken 3 years to get to this point, right? Webster, he's taken a 15th place team in a space of 10 to 12 months to the top 4. He's dramatically changed the organisation. You only have to look at him how he handles a press conference. He doesn't let emotion get the best of him, as Ricky does, or Craig Bellamy. Well, a lot of coaches. He just seems he didn't bite when asked about that forward pass. It's always about the players, and so he'll take it out. He'll take it out. I'll be surprised if he doesn't. It could be another forward pass if he doesn't, in my mind.
Yeah, what will happen, they'll be standing up there and then Kevy will just be slightly ahead of him and they're going to pass it to Webby, but it goes forward to Kevy.
No, it goes forward to Brian McBannon standing in the front.
That's right. I'm getting flashbacks to that, be like that Oscars awards, when they gave it to the wrong people.
Oh, yeah.
Moonlight or whatever.
It was the greatest album. Beyonce.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna let you finish.
Kanye.
Sometimes a Kanye. But Kevin had the best team of all time.
There's obviously a few more awards as well that Warriors are in and around. Dellen's in there for Winger of the Year. Sean's in there for half of the year and also the top award. Adam, he's in there as well for prop of the year. And I think, is Wayne in there as well for hooker?
Hooker.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Wayne.
Is Tohu in there for captain? He should be, surely.
Yeah, captain of the year.
Okay. So what are we thinking, boys? Let's run through them. Winger of the year. What are your thoughts on that, Daniel?
Yeah, I think Dellen has displayed career best form. I think they'll take that into account. He's been absolutely lethal on that right side for us. And he's got a bit of cult status as well. I think they'll take all of that into account. So, definitely him. And, then you can fight it out between, the Dom Youngs of the world. If he's nominated, surely he's nominated. Him and Marju were up there with top try scorers as well. So, but I think Dellen would get that one.
Actually, a good point as well. He broke the club record as well, 24 tries. So, massive effort from the Perm on top of, the massive effort that is the Perm. Moneta, Sean, what are you thinking Sean is going to get in terms of, let's look at halfback of the year and the top award as well.
I think halfback, and I reckon he'll sneak into the Dally M. It'll be a close one between him and Payne Haas, I think, in terms of Dally M, but I think he'll get the halfback of the year. Yeah.
There is chat that KP could be the smoky because they had that 10-game run or 9 or whatever it is, 9-game run, and the way the points work, you can get a maximum of 6, as well. So there's just chat that they reckon that pretty much 8 of those wins, he would have been best on ground the whole time. But in saying that, I heard that Sean as well, the amount of wins we had, the amount of games we played, pretty much, most weeks, 75% of those games, he would have been the best player on the ground as well in our games. And he played obviously a lot more games as well. So, yeah, I mean, surely, you take pretty much single-handedly, not single-handedly taking the team, but, with him in the side, we look so good.
Buddha up front, prop of the year. Major Payne against our boy, AF Beast.
There's two, though. They named 2 props, don't they? And they named 2 props and 2 winners?
I think they name a team of the year, but then they name one
individual.
Yeah, one per position of the year. Is that how it works? I think. So technically, those guys will probably both
Yes,
make
one
it.
per position. Yeah.
But for the the prop of the year, bro, who are you picking?
Oh, I mean, AFB's just been so good all year, but they'll go Payne Haas. They'll always go the fact that he is just. Well, they would still call him best prop in the game, but I mean, Eden has been, seconded by just a little bit, right? If that, and criticism I'd say is that probably when we played those top teams, his impact hasn't been as dramatic. But he's a flat track bully, right? Running at Tyson Gamble all day, with footwork. It's just scary. He's a bad man. So, but I think Payne will just probably slightly get it. But I do believe they take 2 for the team of the year, and he'll definitely get that out of the position.
Yeah, for sure. Wado Moneta, he's sort of. I think from Warriors fans' perspective, we've been watching a lot of what he's been doing the whole year, and knowing how crucial he is to what we do. But it's kind of like in recent times that the wider media has really started to pick up on it. And I mean, especially in Australia as well. All of a sudden, they've clicked and gone, hang on, this guy's actually pretty good. Do you think Wade could steal the dummy half of the year?
I'm just trying to think who was nominated. Do you remember?
Let's see. It would have been Harry Grant, Wade, and
Kenny or Appy.
Who was the other one?
Yeah, because I think when it comes to consistency, I think it has to be Wade Egan, and to that, I think he may take it out. I think, I don't watch a lot of a Storm game, but I think from what I've heard, Harry Grant had a bit of up and down season. Like when he's on, he's definitely on. But and I think that's reflective of Storm's kind of efforts, even though they still made the top four. But I think Harry's a great hooker, but I think they were saying he was a bit inconsistent. So, but
Lost his way at the end of the season.
He was he's always consistent. He's slick with the pass. It kind of shows when he's not there. The service that he provides, and his quick dummy halves, runs. So I reckon he could sneak in. There's a good chance. I think.
Yeah. The other one's Uppy Korosal.
Yeah.
So when you think about consistency, he could take that. And then okay. Tohu Harris is actually up for lock of the year as well, but he's up against Isaiah Yeo and Patrick Carrigan. Buddha, that's a bit of a tough one.
Yeah, I think Patrick Carrigan will get that this year.
Yeah, Carrigan. Oh God.
Yeah, I mean Tohu. That's three of the best players in the competition right there, and three of the most influential players of the competition too. As in terms of captaincy or at least sort of leadership in the teams as well. But yeah, I think Carrigan will get that to sacrifice that for Tohu to be captain of the year.
Yeah, right. So he's up against Reynolds and Isaiah Yeo. So I mean, it's mirroring the coach makeup and the nominees: Broncos, Warriors, Panthers. So we're all good. We reckon Tohu's going to get that captain's nod.
I think so. I think you just go back to the, again, it's a story, and this is why we will get it too, or should get it, as well as taking what was a broken club at the end of 2022, rebuilding that, and a captain that's been all the way through that, and I guess a first-year partnership between a coach and a captain, and that's quite important as well, where you think about Isaiah, and actually he shares that duty with Cleary as well. We know, I think on the team sheet he's the captain, Isaiah, but it's Nathan's team. And look, same thing for Tohu, but we know Tohu and Webby have just had that partnership 1 year, and look how amazing it's been.
You mentioned the word broken in there, and I can only think of that in regards to the tackle of the year, which surely must go to the origami maker himself, the Haumole Olakawatu, up against who did he do it on? Olam?
Olam,
yeah,
folded Olam.
So that's up for tackle of the year, and granite. I'm sure that's got to be in there. I see Joseph Tarpany is also in there as well.
Yeah, is that Tarpany one not
on Reese?
Is it? Yeah.
Surely not.
Well, there's the biggest hit ever, but I mean, obviously, no one was playing footy except Joe.
That's right. Like it's just like Reece says, you got to play to the whistle. Boomfa, he learned that the hard way. Anyways,
I wonder who Esma Mam folded to get that. I'm gonna have to watch that one.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. All right. Well, lads, anything further to cover from this episode? Anything you'd like to? Any burners you want to offload? Any abuse or just anything you wanted to say?
No,
it's a safe space.
No, I'm just super proud of the boys. Great season, and I still remember we started this podcast because it was more about it's in the title Warriors Anonymous. It was about us kind of like sharing our grievances, but this has been the opposite, and it's been a great season. So yeah. It's been fantastic. So,
yeah. Other than being a little bit disappointed, but I think everyone, when the final whistle went, there was claps. Actually, there was a round of applause where I was, and just a lot of appreciation for a team that week in week out, just gave it all. Very consistent. Always played within. Their best game, their worst game was only sort of a 10-15% drop off. Always in most games all season. When was the last time you ever said that about a Warriors team? To be in it as well. And some amazing moments throughout the season, which I think in previous seasons we were just clutching at, and it was more like, I think for me, one thing that sums it up is the Sharks game, and you go back to that and that amazing comeback, and we go back 2 years beforehand, and we had the worst ever Sharks game ever, worst ever game of football, and those two pieces right there are just going to show the difference between where we were and where we are.
Yeah, and it's got to be said that with a great season like that, the great man, our former coach, would be very pleased. Brian McFadden, thank you very much for that one. I love it.
Maybe he's taking over Richie. What's his name? He's going to the Cowboys.
Morgan?
Justin Morgan. Yeah, not Richie Morgan.
We're not
Warrior
listening to
Nation.
Richie Morgan, are we? Jesus Christ.
No, Richie Morgan. Right,
Cowboy
Warrior
Nation. Fucking hell.
Landon Ritchie.
Give me that heart attack.
Yeah.
Keep us.
No, Justin Morgan. Morgs.
Oh man, yeah. It's. This just to clarify, this is not the final episode for this year, but I think it's probably a good note to finish this episode on, and just really acknowledge a lot of the people who are around the place. First of all, we can acknowledge all the Warriors teams for 2023. Really, really awesome stuff. The SD Ball guys, they had probably more progress than a lot of people thought. And man, New South Wales Cup and NRL teams, prelim finals. If anyone picked that at the start of the year, you probably have a bit of money in your bank account right now. Also, in terms of the fans and Warriors content creators around the place, awesome effort. Richie Morgan, Warrior Nation. I know Lisa's involved with that as well. Thanks very much for all of that stuff you've been doing throughout the year, bro. That prelim build up in Brisbane, man, that looked incredible. And even the week before as well in Auckland, that was amazing stuff as well. Just insane sort of following for the team. So congrats to all of you guys, and also Brad Ingar, Warriors Fans TV, Wise Up podcast, Warriorholic, NRL Fanatics, Warriors NRL Fanatics. I'm not even out here, fellas. I'm starting to sound
Mark
like
Roberts.
Yeah, Mark Roberts, thanks, bro. I'm probably about to get the old Oscar hook. The music comes on.
Now, big shout outs to all our Warrior Anonymous crew as well. As it isn't the last one, but I met the big man Joseph Maharaja,
yes.
Big Joe, over at Lily's before the game as well. He's a top bloke, and there's plenty of great commenters on the page as well that really share the love. The big man over in Germany, Lance a lot. Yeah, just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Warriors merch. If you've got any Warriors merch, you want to know what season, when, the background, the bro's got your back. He's a good man.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks very much, everyone. Well, we will be back next week, so don't fret. We've still got a bit more. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll do something.
Quickly, who's winning the grand final?
Sorry?
Who's winning the grand final? And why?
I think Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos? I'm going
Cowboys.
Panthers.
I'm torn because, I don't want Greg Dyer. If I could Greg Dyer, I don't want his Broncos to win. And the Panthers look good, but I think the Broncos have a game. I think the only thing that worries me is that we could have, we applied a little bit of pressure and we had chances to apply more and we could score. So that's the only thing that kind of concerns me about the Broncos is their defense is probably at the same level as some of ours, like our echelon versus the Panthers. But look, if they can get their ball moving as they did, that's the Parramatta Eels blueprint to beat the Panthers.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be fair, I'm gutted we're not there, but this is going to be a titanic battle. This is going to be an awesome one, I reckon. Just the two heavyweights going at it.
I think honestly for me, I think the Panthers are going to bring much more defensive ability and nous in that game, but than we did. But it's all good. We are Warriors Anonymous. Thank you for joining us. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Check us out on Facebook, Insta, X, I was go to see Twitter, but it's not right. X, TikTok as well. Check us out on there. Got
Oh,
all these-
also, bro. By the way, I got sent a Snapchat of Up the Wires playing in New Wilden Town in the city.
Hey.
I mean, that song just keeps rolling on, bro.
Oh,
rolling
man.
on as well. And there was actually a big bit of coverage in ABC Radio Brisbane over the weekend as well. So, fortunately, I didn't get the audio in time to post it up before the game, but they played the whole song in there as well. So, it's the gift that keeps giving, bro.
Oh, thanks, bro. Bro, share that link as well. Be keen to hear you giving it to them, even though it was all in vain in the end. But that's all good. Lads, this has been a good therapy session. Thanks for joining us. On behalf of Daniel Wharakura, Moneta Sauce, and Isaac Sauce, who's over in Japan at the moment. When is he back, by the way? Is he back this year? Probably not.
He should be back this weekend.
Oh, okay, sweet. We'll hope to see him. My name is Jerry Cronin. This has been Warriors Anonymous. We will see you for one more week next week. What do we say now? Yeah, up the wires. Yeah, up the wires. What's the wires?
The Wires.